Got this '09 Hyundai. It's a Sonata. And the guy just bought this thing used, but bought it with a known problem. It's got the big 2.4. He did leave us a note here. '09 Sonata 2.4 P880 is what it has. Goes in reverse and drive, stays in third, won't upshift or downshift. He cleaned all the grounds, changed the fluid, tested the wiring harness for continuity, it looks like. And then he said the previous owner changed the input sensor and has a used computer that was never put in. Need a diagnosis, wants to know what's wrong with it. I ran the report here on the Alto, and indeed it does have the P880 in it, and also an evap code, an old one. So we're gonna pop into the transaxle here. I don't know if we're gonna need any data in here. We're gonna look up that 880, see if it gives us a code set criteria, see what it takes to generate this code, and see what we can do to fix it. And I just thought I'd bring you guys along, so in case we find something cool. Okay, let's see if we can't read and discover and learn along with each other here. 880 TCM power signal error opener short to ground. Component locations. Description here, the HIVEC automatic transmission. So that's some acronym, must be for whatever type of transmission's in it, or the controller for it, whatever. It says here it supplies the power to the solenoid valves by way of a control relay. The TCM sets the relay on. The relay operates the battery power, or operates, and the battery power is supplied to the solenoid valves. When the TCM is off, the solenoid power is shut off. Oh, and the transmission is held in third gear position, fail-safe mode. Oh, okay, so that makes sense. So it has a solenoid or a relay that sends power to the solenoid valves, and when it's off, it defaults into third gear. So that's good. Code description. Training control module checks the AT control relay signal by monitoring the control signal. Okay. If after the engine key is turned on, an unexpected voltage value, which is quite a bit lower than battery voltage, is detected, the TCM sets this code. So that makes sense. It's looking for the output and it doesn't see it because it's looking at the control signal. So maybe it says, hey, the control signal says, hey, we're on. Don't see any power here at the solenoid, so bang. Bingo, bango. This is the diagnostic trouble code detecting condition chart. Strategies is check voltage ranges. Enables a condition 22 volts greater than battery voltage. Oh, I don't know my greater than less than sign. Battery voltage greater than 9 volts time. Okay, threshold value. This is what we want. Okay, so yeah, this is talking about enable the condition to run. Okay, and then to set the code, voltage less than 7 volts or voltage greater than 24.5 volts. So that kind of contradicts what they say here, because it says here if it sees a voltage value which is quite a bit lower than battery voltage, it sets the code. But according to this, it can set it both ways, higher or lower. What does it do? It locks it into third gear. Okay, so that's something that we know. Here we go. Here's some scan data. Hyundai's always good. Hyundai Kia data is usually always pretty good. Connect scan tool DLC, key on engine off. Monitor the AC con relay voltage parameter on scan tool. Well, let me just grab my scan tool real quick here, folks, because we did open up some data, but we never went through it. Let's just have a quick peek here. What's it say? AT con relay. Oh, we have AT relay voltage. So they have it on OEM scan data, AT control relay voltage, but the only voltage data pit I have here is this one. We'll put her up in a dial for you. Look at that. 3.6. So that's pretty interesting. 3.6. Let's stick our scan tool down here and let's kind of keep poking through service data to see if there's other valuable information. Is relay voltage within specifications? No. Go to wiring harness inspection procedure. Okay, that's what we're gonna do. Terminal connection inspection, power circuit inspection. I wonder if they have a diagram here. Well, it does give us some connector pinouts and stuff. Let's just go pop back in and find a wiring diagram for this transmission to see if this relay is external. That's one thing I don't know. So we'll go down to transmission, not shift interlock. Transmission, it's got the big 2-4. Let's find this relay. Where's the relay? Those are range switches. Diagram 2 of 2. Here we go. ATM control relay shunt connector. Interesting. Not used, not used. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that means. Let's see where the power comes out of that. It goes back over to 6 and 7. ATM solenoid valve. Just wonder where that gets all its powers from. Must be pink and gray. I might have to poke here for a minute, folks. Kind of learn the lay of the land here. Control relay on, control relay on. Let me see if I can find us an OEM diagram, make sure we're not being led astray by misinterpretation here, and then I'll be back in touch with you folks, let you know what I figured out, and maybe get a printout and come up with a diagnostic plan. OEM diagram is just about the same as the color diagram. It still shows that ATM relay shunt connector, they call it. It says it's in this engine compartment fuse box here, and I see right here it says ATM CONT. So if we look at it like this, there are some pretty greasy fingerprints on it. So it's obviously it's been probably touched and swapped and moved. What happens when we just pull it out is what I wonder. Well, this stays at 3.6, so that doesn't change. Just out of curiosity, let's see if we hear it clicking. Maybe a solid state relay. Yeah, I don't hear it click. Let me grab a test light though. Let's grab our favorite scope on a rope here. We're gonna hook it to battery negative. All right, let's make sure there's power. Let's just see who's hot and who's not. So we have one power on the load side. Let's jumper power across that and see if anything changes on our scan tool. All right, there's our flashlight. This one had power. Jumper on that one, we should have power here. We do. And we're gonna jumper this to the other load side. And we did. So we do have power going through it, and on scan data nothing changed. So what's that tell us? I don't know, my guy. Let's see. I just want to reach down here. Let's see if we have power going through this relay. We don't. Got power on that side. No power going through the relay. So this is kind of interesting. Why is the relay not being turned on? The key is on, but I don't have any power on this control side either, which I'm not super concerned with because of the fact that when we jumper the load side, nothing changes on scan data unless, you know, I guess the only thing would be is if our scan data is no good, you know, if this data is not live or this PIDS doesn't update correctly. It's interesting that it's at 3.6. So that's kind of bizarre. Let me do a little more look and let's see where these wires go. I am curious that there's no control side here. But it doesn't show that side of the relay being hooked up either in the wiring diagram. So I don't want to get led astray from my lack of understanding of how the system works. So I'm going to do a little more poking here. But it is quite interesting that we can jumper power right straight across to the, you know, to the load side of that relay. Nothing changes on scan data. It stays at 3.6. I want to go to battery positive now, and I want to see if there's either one of these light up, and it does. So let me just see. Let's shut the key off and see if this is a control for that relay. Even though it doesn't show it in the wire diagram, let me shut the key off and see if that ground side switch control wire changes. Okay, because that will give us a clue. Let's see. So that's key off. Yep, so key off, that stayed lit. Key on, no change. So that's pretty interesting. That's one side of the relay that has a constant ground, so that makes me think that if there was a control, it would be power side switched, which we don't have any action going on there. So pretty interesting, folks. Let me do a little more poking, come up with a plan, and then we'll execute the plan. So this really makes me concerned, because if the wire diagram is right, a standard relay won't work here. In the diagram it says it's a shunt. Here it doesn't say, it just says ATM CONT, which I don't know if that just means continuous or control, automatic transmission control relay. But if like I say, if the diagram is correct, a standard relay here will not work. What we've done will work, but a standard relay won't. And all of these relays are the same except for this one here for the wipers, which is different in the sense that it's a 3-pin on it. It's got, your 87A terminal, and there's 3 pins here in the box for that. So I assume that's right, but all of these part numbers are the same. Now, it doesn't mean they're right, it just means they're all the same. Being that this car was bought with a problem, these are all covered with greasy fingerprints. Perhaps somebody's been at the salvage yard, swapping stuff around. I think for our purposes, we're going to I'm going to reinstall this here, and we're going to check for voltage. I don't think I'm going to get too sidetracked. Hopefully, we're going to check for this voltage is supposed to be making it to the PCM. There's 2 wires that are supposed to be hot. Whether this is controlled or not, when we bypass this and jumper it, our voltage on the scan tool doesn't change. It stays at 3.6. If our voltage is making it to the PCM's bad, and we need to figure out what really goes here, whether it is a shunt, or, which I don't understand, or if it is, looking at the diagram, just simply a bypass, which is kind of bizarre. Why even have the relay there if it has no control wires to it? That I don't completely understand, because service data did allude to the fact that it monitors, key on, key off voltage. Perhaps I didn't check to see if this voltage. Let's see if this voltage goes away. Key on, key on, key off. Usually these load sides don't, but let's just see. We'll stick our test light there. Let me go turn the key off and see if that goes away. I can't imagine that it will. So yeah, so that's key off. Like I say, that's just constant power. Pretty interesting still. I'm gonna find us some, I kind of just want to grab that computer he's got in there, just plug the dang thing in and see if all of a sudden our scan data changes. That's probably a little easier than testing. I assume somebody would have done that already. The connector's right here. As silly as a video as that would make, if it worked, it may just lead us right in the right direction and save us from tracing out wires. So let's just do that. What the heck? Keys off. Now, I'm usually not a big Swaptronics guy, but when our theory looks like it's lining up with the possibility of having a bad PCM, and you have a PCM in your hands, even though I don't know security and stuff on these. I don't think these older Kias you could write the VIN number to it on a used one, so it's likely this one won't work anyways without sending it and getting it repaired or EEPROM swapped. Let me just turn the key on and we'll just look at the voltage. That'd be the easiest thing. Okay, we're key on. Get around all the junk here, go back to scan data. Let's see. Let's just see. Bam, lucky guess, old son. 13.5. So there, we have a bad computer. And the customer actually had one in the car. It's great. Whether or not, will the car run with it, I don't know. Let's just see what it has for codes here. No codes in the training, so that's good. So the wiring diagram is right. And technically, if we go back to live data, let's just see if we're right. So let's just do just this one, show selected. 13.5, if we pull the pin, look at that, it goes to 3.3. And it should have the code in it now. If it's continually monitored, bam, look at that, P0880. But if we put this relay in, it should still have the code in it, and our voltage should still be the same because that's the wrong part, I'm thinking. Let's go to live data. Yeah, look, 3.3 volts. That's the wrong part, folks. This doesn't belong in this car. It does, just not in this hole. It has to have some kind of shunt or just some kind of bypass. Because when we do it like we do it on the Discovery Channel, let's see, there it is. Oh, so that's kind of interesting. I jumper power to it. So we're learning something. I jumper power to it, but look, it's still at 3.5. Do we need to erase the trouble code? Let's erase the code. Code's gone. Go back to live data. Ah, look at that. So we learned something, 13.5. Let's put the other PCM in. If this guy got screwed because it's got the wrong relay, that's gonna suck. So I would not have guessed that. I would not have guessed that once you generate a code, it kills that data pin. Does that make sense to you? So 3.3 volts right now. Again, we jumper power to it. It stays at 3.5 volts until we actually clear the code. I wouldn't have known that. That's pretty interesting. Usually that stuff's live, but this is why we poke and hope sometimes. We learn things. Go back to live data. Robert's your mother's brother. We're back at 13.5. Let me shut the key off. We'll install Chevy Thunder. We'll install the original PCM, clear the code, jumper power, and see if this guy just got screwed from having the wrong relay. If that's the case, we may have to take us a little trip down to Wilbert's. We don't have any Hyundai dealers close by. And something like this would just be just as easy just to run down the junkyard. It's only a mile down the road, so they probably have these cars. Okay, key is back on. Let's jumper our power to it. Wham, bam. Let's go to trouble codes. This is the original PCM. We're gonna erase this code. I'm gonna reread it. Oh, see, now it's still active in this car. So that's pretty interesting. We erase it, we have power going to it. Key on, engine off. Erase it, we go to live data. And this one's still at 3.6. So that's pretty interesting. This computer is junk. The computer's no good, but it still has the wrong stinking relay. Wow, that's pretty wild. What are the odds of that? It's got the wrong relay, and the computer is actually bad. But when we use the computer that works, you have to clear the code to get it to read that. So, interesting. So, interesting fix. I'm going to check with Keith at L1 Auto Diag. I don't believe that we can just put a PCM in this because we won't be able to rewrite the VIN. I'll likely have to send him both of these computers. The last Kia that we had in here, or Hyundai, that's what we did. We sent him the computer. He did a EEPROM swap or swapped over whatever needed to be swapped over to get the VIN in there. I guess we can double check that. I can just put it back in and we can go into ECM. I believe it only allows you to write the VIN one time, even though there's a function in here. Yeah, like write VIN. Write VIN ECM memories. PO630. I'll try to do it, but I'm pretty sure you can't do it. Or you can do it just one time on a new one. So stand by, folks. Pretty interesting. I'm glad that I brought you guys along to see this. So that is the case. It reads the VIN that is currently in the PCM. and just tells you that the VIN is already written. So this is the VIN for that PCM. Although the car will start and run because as we all know, these Hyundais like to disappear around here. There's no security. So the car will start and run, and we won't have the 880. Actually, I should be able to start it. Let me just see. Contact. So that's good. It does start and run. Unfortunately, even though it doesn't have a check engine light, let me just verify this. It's not going to have any mismatched VIN, you know, check engine light in the engine controller. Okay. Even though that he'll get popped during inspection, so it'll come in, we plug it in. That shop will get audited for sure. Because it's going to show one VIN scan that doesn't match the VIN that they plugged it into. You can bet your bottom dollar the state will be at your shop the next day looking to destroy your business. But that's what they like to do. Yeah, so I guess we're done, folks. Perhaps we can run down to Wilbert's. Let's get the right relay for it, and then at that point, it's up to him. He can drive it with that thing until, well, inspections due. He's only got a 10-day on it, so that's up to him. I'm gonna give Keith a call, L1, see what he charges to do that. That way I can tell the customer what's gonna need to be done. But I just rescanned it, and you can see no codes in the engine, no codes in the tranny. Right, we leave that sucker in there. So let me look, see if Wilbert has one, and we'll either end the video or take a little road trip. That's what I love about this place. They've got this little guy here. That one's an 09. You can go right on their website, you look. They got it so sorted now, it's freaking awesome. So they got an 06 and an 09, row 14. Let's go, boys. Here we go, folks. We've got our list of Hyundai Sonatas. We also got to look for an old Chevy. So we're going to walk down these Chevy rows. My guy Josh is working on an oldie but a goodie, an 01. We need the that's a 90. I was gonna say that's old buy style. What are you looking at there, boy? He needs a brake hose bracket is all. It's this body style here, but it's a 2500. Oh, that brake hose bracket's missing too. Maybe it's gonna be a little more difficult than I thought. But I'm gonna check out these old junk Chevys as we're walking by. We'll get out to the Hyundai section. You gotta pick it up a little bit, Cap. Okay, there you go. What do you want to do with it? You got it from here? Okay, just had to stop and help some guys out there for a minute. No casualties, so that's good. This might be what Josh needs. This is the 01 body style. Big money, big money. Oh, there it is. That's what we need right there. Sweet, so that's what Josh needed, this bracket. That was it. So this place is a gold mine for stuff like this, little petty things. This is it. This is a Sonata, which has been picked over pretty good. Like real good. Bingo, bingo. Look at that. It's the brown one. Feels pretty light. Awesome, my guy. Awesome. I've got to know. I've got to know. Do you guys want to know? I'm betting it's nothing but a jump. It's not even. It ain't nothing. It ain't nothing but a jump wire in a box. You have to look at my nasty fingernails. I didn't bring any gloves to save you this time. Ha! Look at that. See? You ding dongs. Not my finger, I'll move it so you don't have to look at it. It's nothing. It is nothing on the control side, and on the load side, it is nothing more than a jump wire. What's this thing cost brand new? 10 cents? So that's all it is. Of course, now I have to kind of get it so it sticks back together here. But isn't that good to know that really it's nothing more than a jump wire in a box? It's an empty relay. Remove our jump wire, install their jump wire. So this is, let this be a lesson to you folks. If you're playing Swaptronics with relays, you know, make darn sure you know what's going in what hole, and you know how that relay works, whether it's, you know, diode suppressed, or in this case a jumper wire, where even though it looks like a regular relay, they could have done themselves some justice by whacking off the 2 control pins, perhaps. But you know, somebody probably went to the junkyard, just it's just a relay, is a relay, is a relay. That's what the old saying is. But we're at the point where now he just needs to make a decision. He can run it with this ECM. Of course, it won't pass inspection in New York, even if the light's out. Or Keith did get back to me at L1 Auto Diagnostics. Check him out on YouTube. He can change the VIN over if I send him both computers. So I'm not gonna say what he charges to do that, because it's not my business to do so. But he's done these for me before. He did a Hyundai before. I see this one's got a broken mounting tab on it there. So I'll leave it up to the customer at this point what they want to do. If they want to get a new PCM, write the VIN to it, or if they want to send this one in, send it in, it's cheaper. It would only make sense. So that's that. Anyhow, we're done, folks. So I guess that's it, folks. I hope you enjoyed this fix, so to speak, or at least going down the path to find out what the heck's wrong. And the fact that, yeah, we can believe our service data. I'm not sure I would go as far as calling that a shunt as I would just a non-existent relay or a bypass, but that's essentially what the diagram showed also. But then it was a little confusing to know that there's actually wires in the box in that control side, or there's at least a ground, no power side switch, but maybe it's wired up for a different application, and then they use the same box. But so lessons learned here: A, you can't swap in a used PCM, or you can, but if your state has inspections, you're in trouble. But other than that, they're, you know, plug and play, providing the numbers are the same. And B, don't just go swapping relays, because not all relays are made the same. So make sure you know what you're swapping in there. And C, I love the pick and pull. It's a fun place to go. We got to help a guy out get a box off his Chevy truck, and we got to get the part for Josh and get this and that. We're still well within our time limit. Why don't you guys not waste any more of your time? Go in that comment section. Questions, comments, the Insta, the Facebook. You know where to find us. And just remember, viewers, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.